Everything into account, that we had to play our third game in 7 days and playing Wednesday evening, having the early kickoff, taking that all into account and then playing the derby and winning it with a great first half performance is good.
People keep saying that being 2-0 up is the worst thing Liverpool can be.
Yeah. No, but I think we had also the opportunity to score more, but 2-1, then especially in this game, Everton with the defence that they have, and they keep coming, then you have to defend. But next time, we don't concede.
I think somebody said to me, I think they had maybe 9 attempts at goal and a couple, 3 or 4 on target, and we had 7. So maybe in the end of the day there wasn't so much between it. We've got no problems. The players are doing really well, and we just pulled up a little bit short against one of the best teams in the league, if not the best. And it shows that we're coming a long way.
You got a yellow card after the final whistle for a disagreement with the referee. Can I ask you what that was for?
He gave Kiernan a yellow card for taking a quick free kick, and I was like, what are you doing? Like, you can't give. We want to get we're losing. Do you know what I mean? Like, we want to get the ball back in play and carry on playing, and he gives him a yellow card. It baffles me. That's so unheard of. I've never heard of that in my life. So I was just saying that to him, and then also I was saying, where'd you get 3 minutes from and 1 minute in the first half for extra time? I've never heard of that either. Come on. Yeah. Usually it's 4 or 5 minutes in it. So yeah, listen, it is what it is. We move on. And then I didn't even know that he gave me a yellow actually. So that's news to me.
Well, he knows now, and he also talked about added time at the end of the game, but really it wasn't the second half where the game was won. It was a very different second half from the first, where Liverpool put it beyond Everton in the end.
Yeah, they were really bright and sharp first half. I think he made some changes which helped them, the freshness. But I thought what they did really well is utilise the space behind Everton's midfield 3 and the back 4. The gaps were too big, and Liverpool were really intelligent in how they got the ball in there early. We see early on, there's the Everton midfield 3, locked in on their opponents without really thinking about the space behind them. I kind of get it early on, but they get caught out. This time it's Kirkes from the left-back position. Terrific ball. There's the space. Yeah, maybe the back 4 could squeeze up a little bit there, but the midfield's job early on, condense that space, be compact, then they're on to the back 4. They actually defend this one pretty well and get away with it, but it was an early warning for them, to be honest. Gravenberch, the holding midfield, plays the ball, and then he just continues his run because they switch off, and there's that big gap again we're talking about. When you're playing against players of such quality, they're going to rotate positions, they're going to come in off the wide areas. The deep midfielder's bright, he's brilliant by the way, he's been terrific the last 3 games. Szoboszlai in the familiar role, look, they're so preoccupied with looking at the ball that the gap behind them they're not thinking about, and maybe the communication between the back line and midfield wasn't great, and again they get let off the hook here. Szoboszlai free on the edge of the box. I think it's Tarkowski gets the block on this occasion. Ekitike dropped into these lovely little pockets. He likes doing that. Gakpo swap places with him. And then, of course, good players. They find the spare man in the hole. And when you continually give up that space, as Everton did, you're going to be under the cosh. And at times they were hanging on, and Liverpool, were really dominant in their first half. Again, that man I've talked about, Gravenberch, he's in that space, a holding midfielder. He's gone past McAllister, he's gone past Szoboszlai, super little pass into the forward of Ekitike, who gets another goal and did really well this afternoon. To be fair to Everton in the second half, they must have talked about it because they were more compact, they won more second balls, they condensed that space more and didn't get too preoccupied with what was ahead of them. And from there, they got a foundation into the game. But job done first half, really bright.
Yeah, they did improve, Everton, but could they have done more to stop the goals?
Yeah, I think they could have. I think the goals were really poor goals for Everton to concede. And, when you go into Anfield, you want to be tight, you want to be solid and not give any easy chances away. And I just felt the goals were too easy for Liverpool to score. So if we look here, you look at Ghana Guy in particular in the middle of the pitch. As Gravenberch lays the ball off, he just carried on his run. Michael Keane gets sucked across, I think too far, and then the minute that happens, Tarkowski should come across to cover him, but he doesn't. He goes too late, and Gravenberch carries on his run, and it's a wonderful ball and an unbelievable finish. And the second goal here, I think When you look at the back line of Everton, if you look at them there, they never get up, they never get compact, they never get together, they never get on one line. And as Danny said, with Ekitike, he's a good player. He's really clever here. He can see that Mykolenko is deeper. He knows he can stay in behind Michael Keane. And then Michael Keane can't get back. Tarkowski doesn't cover quick enough. But just here, if you look at Tarkowski, I think if he goes with his left leg, he blocks the shot. He doesn't. He shortens his stride and then goes with his right leg there. And then that allows Ekitike to get his shot off, and it's a fantastic finish. And from there, it makes it very difficult for Everton to get back in the game.
Don't you think, no, Wayne, that some of the confusion comes from Liverpool swapping positions a lot, and then
Jordan Pickford plays a long ball, so it's quite easy for Michael Keane, Tarkowski, the leaders in there to make sure they get up and they get on one line, because the minute you don't, that's what happens. They punish you.
The BBC drama series, The City is Ours, referenced there by Hugo Ekitike, clearly a big fan. All episodes available now on iPlayer.
That's good.
Should you want to go and watch it. Look, as far as Liverpool's performance goes, Danny, weren't at their best. Are there signs that they are going to kick into gear, maybe after the next international break, before then, later? What do you think?
I think there's good signs, because in most matches they've had great moments. I thought midweek was a really good performance overall, although they had a little spell in the second half. But today, the more obvious thing was the fatigue from Wednesday night in the second half as the game wore on. You could see that. But still so many new players forming relationships and understanding what each other does. You know, Ekitike is different to Isak. So if you're playing with either one, you have to learn their traits and their characteristics. So to win 5 out of 5, not playing at your best, is a phenomenal start for them, and actually a really good sign.
Let's see if we can do any better for you, Wayne, with the next one.
Arne Slot saying Liverpool a great team to watch, and they've started this season so brilliantly, sitting top of the table, winning every single game. Jules also asked him there about the competition, of course, between Isak and Hugo Ekitike. Do you think we can see them both playing together, Peter? Can you imagine that?
I can see it, yeah. I think if both of them actually like to drift over to the left-hand side, funny enough. I think Ekitike, some of his best work has been out on that left-hand side, and the same with Isak. So, I mean, it can be interchangeable. One could be in a centre-forward position and drift out to the left, and they can swap. I do think that could happen. Gakpo might have something to say about that. I thought he was fantastic again today.
And he's a player that Arne Slot really seems to trust, isn't he, Cody Gakpo?
Yeah, without doubt. And, you can see why he hasn't let anyone down. I thought he was so strong today. He was playing right in front of us.
I think in the first half, he made the tackle that David Moyes and Everton were complaining about before they scored the first goal. So his work rate out of possession is key to how they perform, definitely.
As a squad, go on, Peter.
No, just to say he's a manager's dream, because I think you can see why there's certain managers at times, from an outsider looking in, you think, you want sometimes more flair players in there. But he works so hard. His attributes off the ball and his strength, tackling, that he was willing to work for the team, and he gives you so much going forward as well.
And there was a time where, you weren't quite sure, I guess, where Cody Gakpo would fit into this team. He wasn't one of the first names on the team sheet, but do you think he's become that now?
Well, it's almost, it's enough for Luis Diaz to be let go. The fact that Gakpo has the ability on the left-hand side, he's that important to Slot. You can see he trusts him. And of course, I think he'll be here for a long time. But of course, he's got competition. Slots talked about it there. He's got competition in places in every position now. But all the top sides have that.
As a squad, how well equipped are they, do you think, Jolien, to compete on 4 fronts?
Very well. I think their best second 11 are able to win games. I do think they lost Virgil. God forbid it doesn't happen. You don't wish injury on anyone, but he's probably the one influential part of this team. I think the fact that they've got Isak now, if Mo Salah was to, again, unfortunately miss games, they have someone that can contribute goals-wise. But yeah, listen, their squad in depth, their strength in depth is going to be key to their success. They're going to have to rotate, and no one's going to feel like they're dropped. If you're playing in the Champions League, i.e. Atletico, big games, and then you're playing in the Merseyside Derby, you're not going to feel like you've missed out on anything, because you're contributing to everything. And if they go on to win 2-3 trophies, it'll be huge for them all.
Do you think that they may get to a point where they could possibly regret just not getting that Mark Gay deal over the line?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, obviously you saw Joe Gomez on the bench there. He's never let anyone down. He's always been a player to come in and cope with the kind of pressure, whatever game. I think as Jolyon said there, I think Alisson and Van Dijk feel like the two players that you lose them for a long period of time, then I think you could suffer. But there's enough goals in there. Mo Salah's in that category, but you feel like they could potentially manage that now.
100%. I just think that the impact, like psychologically, that would have on the dressing room, the opposition, if no Virgil, no Alisson, listen, the replacements might be as good, but psychologically you're going to be like, oh, now we can test them even more so. So they're probably the two areas, as Karachi said.
You're picking holes in the side.
No problems in the forward areas of the midfield. It's not bad, is it? It's not bad. And it's doing the trick because they are winning games, winning every game so far. I was echoing some of Jack Grealish's thoughts on the officiating, but plenty to be positive about for them going ahead this season, Jolyon. What do you think is possible for them?
Europe. And I'm not going to put myself out on the limb and say that, because if they produce games like the second half and later stages of the first half, they will be very hard to beat and cause teams a lot of problems. Listen, whether that's sustainable for them throughout the year, who knows? But yeah, they should be frustrated that they didn't play that 90 minutes like the second half. You can't afford to come to places like Anfield and give them such a lead and think you're going to get back into it. But like David Moyes said, it's not just today. Throughout the season, they've caused teams a lot of problems, and they'll definitely be looking up rather than looking down.
And there was a couple of home games as well, West Ham and Palace as well, at their shiny new stadium as well, Peter. They'll be relishing those, won't they, now?
Yeah, I think, it shows how far they've come. You know, they're disappointed not to get a result here at Anfield. You know, last year relegation was a real possibility, and potentially the year before that they were a club in disarray at points. So what David Moyes has done, Jolyon's just mentioning European qualification, which is a real possibility for this squad now. They've signed well. They look like they are confident. I do think they're missing a cutting edge. I think their centre forward is, I'm not sure Beto or Barry is the answer for them, but they've got a lot of positives in areas. I think they're aggressive. They feel like David Moyes' side, the side that you were part of, that's a team that the Everton fans can get behind, that don't want to get beat, that want to put their foot in, and they've got a sprinkling of stardust in there as well, certainly in the wide areas. But I do think the January that they may need to get a striker, and I know that's so difficult to go out and get because they have spent money as well on those players, but I'm not sure they're the answer.
Yeah, and the lack of sort of someone else up front could hold back their progress. He will believe, though,